Hello beautiful people, and welcome back to my channel. So I wanted to touch on something really quickly today. I didn't have a ton of time to make a video, but I think this is important. So let's talk about why so many people fall just short of where they want to be, right? Like just short. When I began coaching nutrition, I really prided myself on every single thing I said, ask me about it, because I will send you a study that backs it up. I did not do a single thing. I didn't make a single recommendation if I did not have a legitimate study to back up what I was saying. Here it is, this is why I had you do it, this is the study. I also took a lot of pride in that. Like I really was like, yes, like I don't mess around, like I'm not one of those crappy fitness coaches that just like throws out randomness. Like, and that was true. Like I think I was in the right place in my heart, but I wasn't quite getting it. With health and fitness, there is so much nuance. There are so many circumstances, there's so much to life that affects your health and fitness. I think I ignored that for the sake of validity. I wanted people to see me as a valid nutritionist and someone that really knew what they were talking about. And I think I was very afraid to talk about the nuance because of that. Anything that's anecdotal is literally just a study that hasn't been done yet. Maybe it's not all correct, but it could be. And especially as I went through the years of taking on more clients, I learned so much from these clients. I was observing them and watching what worked for them. And even if something, you know, didn't have a study behind it, why is it working for them so well? Like, why is this strategy seems to just really hit the nail on the head? Like, why is that? I then began adding those in with my other clients. So if someone was a similar profile to someone else and we tried this random thing and it just like happened to work out really well, even though it's a little weird, I'll introduce it to them, be like, hey, like I've had good luck with this before, like do you think this is something that might be helpful, whatever it is. And a lot of the time it works. I'm going to give you my top 3 things that have absolutely no studies attached to them that I've seen that I'm like, yep, spot on, like absolutely, that I think can change the entire trajectory of your health and fitness. The first thing is visualization. I cannot tell you how much luck I've had with this, with my athletes. Visualizing your event, your game day, whatever you do, visualizing how that's going to go. Literally, if you run a 1 mile race, set the clock for a PR time by like a few seconds. So if you run a 6-minute mile, set it for 5:52. And the entire time that clock is running, visualize that point in the race in the best way, in the best case scenario, visualize it. If you are a lifter, visualize going on stage, set the 2-minute countdown clock, visualize your setup, visualize the way you set your shoulders, visualize locking out the lift. Every single detail that you can think of, visualize it. Because if we set out a path for our best performance and we know how that goes, do you know how much easier it is to re-hit a PR after you've already done it? It's because you already in your head have gone through the motions and you've already decided that that's something that you can do. This is why I think it works. I recommend visualization to anybody with any goal. Do it. You want to make $1 million, visualize it. Visualize how it's going to get into your bank account. Visualize every step along the way. What will you do with it? How will it feel? Everything. I really believe it. The whole manifesting everything thing. I think there's something to making ourselves believe that it is possible in the first place that propels us forward. Whether it is the universe or whether it really just is a frame of mind, I don't really care. If it works, it works. The next thing is genuinely enjoying your life. Not in a sense of every single second you're happy. Is your overarching picture where you want to be? If you really want a family and the white picket fence, a very traditional life, and you're a single bachelor who has millions and millions of dollars and beautiful women all around him, that might actually mean that you're not the happiest if that's not what you want, right? Or worse, you could be married in that white picket fence and really just want to live the bachelor life. Is your overarching structure of your life aligned with what you actually want? Think about it. I swear that people that I work with, I get pretty deep with them. Like I start to understand their wants, and I know things about their marriages. I know these really deep things about them, and some of them are not as happy as they would like to be. And the first part of that is recognizing that. I think a lot of people live a life that they aren't the happiest and they don't really think that there's much better out there. Start to look at things, like, is this really what I want? Is the direction that I'm going, what's at the end of that, and is that what I want? Because a lot of people go on a trajectory without ever thinking about the ending point of that trajectory. Like, where does that bring you? Start thinking about these big themes, because I feel that my clients that are genuinely happy in their life, even if they're going through a hard time in that moment, they're happy with the overall way their life is set up. I just see the change so much faster. I see them adapt to things so much more easily. I see them recover better. Like, these little things just add up because they're happy. At the end of the day, they're content, they're good. I don't know that even the majority of people have that, and I think it makes a really big difference in the success of the little things you do. Take a look at your life structure. Is it really where you want to be? And if it's not, what are you going to change? What are you going to do about it? It makes the little tasks of the smaller goals you want not only seem a lot smaller in comparison, but they also make it a lot more manageable if you are happy in a starting place. Last thing I will talk about is how you respond to things. I have worked with such an array of people. I have worked with 18-year-old women. I've worked with 65-year-old men. I have done everything in between, from stay-at-home mom who just wants to, you know, feel a little bit better, to I want to set a record. Like, I have done all of it, everything in between, which I feel so incredibly lucky. We're not machines. In our chemistry of our own individual body that respond to things differently than others. Even if you should be responding to something, you should be able to do whatever. It does not mean that there is not a reason. It's not just like out of nowhere, like, oh, like, you know, some people just do really well on a like lower carb intake, like I can't figure it out. It's like, okay, is that person intolerant to gluten? Maybe that could be a big reason that they don't feel as good on a lot of carbs. There's a reason. I'm not saying there's no reason. I am saying that you can make the change without having the reason. If you feel like garbage eating meat, don't eat meat. That's it. Find your protein other ways, but you don't have to question and have a reason for everything in order to make the change. I see this a lot with just adjusting people when I first start working with them. So if I put them on a pretty high carb allotment and they're like, oh, well, like I never really responded too well to carb. Okay, like let's see how this goes. Like, as long as it's not, obviously if it's like an intolerance or like a legitimate allergy, that's completely different. I'm just saying like, I don't really know how I feel about this type thing. I will be like, okay, let's do it for a week. Let's like see where this brings us. And then they're like, oh, I actually responded really well. Like, I don't know why. And it's like, okay, well, what were you eating before? And it's like all these garbage carb sources. That can be a reason too. Or it could also be, yeah, I don't know, I just like kind of felt sick all week. Like I just didn't feel good. Okay, let's take a look at what you ate. Even if I don't have it pinpointed, I can still lower their carbs until I do. You do not have to have a reason concretely on paper in black and white for every single thing you do, as long as you are making the changes from an educated place and not an emotional place. You should not be dropping your calories every time you fluctuate a pound up on the scale. Those things are where you can get yourself in trouble. However, if you are someone that you know you're not really like too emotional about these things, it can be really valuable to just listen to yourself, even if you don't know why. I don't know, I hope I'm explaining this correctly, because I know it's a very strange thing, but we, for some reason, will not make changes until we have something in front of us that says like, you need to change X. You not feeling good, or you not digesting well, or you not sleeping, or whatever. That's a reason, that's your reason. You can change things without having a diagnosis, black and white, here you go, this is what's wrong. Make the change. You should feel good. I hope this was helpful. I know this is kind of a one-off video, but I thought it was interesting. I was thinking about it. I really believe that, you know, humans are way more nuanced than we like to give ourselves credit for. We're also way simpler than we would like to give ourselves credit for. We like to think we're way smarter and we outsmart, and no, we don't. It's, if something is wrong, you should address it. And if everything's going well, it's going well. Don't fix what isn't broken. Hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. If you are not subscribed, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me out, and I will see you guys in the next video.